Hello YouTubers, this is my 1996 S10 Chevy pickup. This is my 454 conversion part 4. If you remember in some of the other videos, I had the engine kind of pretty well mounted in there, pretty much temporary. So far I've been busy working on the house, so I haven't gotten around to making a video, so here I am making a video so that way that I can make sure that all you guys that hopefully you guys are following and like my videos, so that way I can continue to keep doing this and keep making these videos. So I know that you guys are really interested in knowing how to install this big block 454 in a small hole. So to recap everything that has been done since the last video, the engine has been pre-prepped, put in there, everything mounted up. I have made this here. It's kind of a mock-up, but I will get it all cleaned up before it actually goes in there. But it will fit in there. The bolts will fit perfectly through here. I get this set up in here, like yay. So I got where the bolts fit up through here and through your mount on the back of your transmission. There's the 400 turbo, and it will fit through. Now you might be asking how it fits in there. The main cross member, I got it with one bolt that fits through here, and I seen some of the ones of looking at some of the videos. And some people are using very little metal, some just using flat iron. So this square tubing should be more than enough and strong enough to withstand this big block being put in here. Now, to show you what I am done underneath. Okay, if you look straight over there, I made a bracket right there. Get that light away. So basically, your bracket comes in, slips over top. So you slip it up over, it fits in these little slots, and then you run a bolt straight through, and it holds it in, and then you just mount your transmission onto the bracket. This way it makes it easier to take it in and out, and for me it seems like the most easiest way of doing it, where you can get the tranny out, and in case of that you need to take it out and not the engine. So I wanted to be able to do it. That would make things a lot easier. Now you can still jack the tranny up after you undo the two bolts, whether you undo the bolts in the bracket or the bolts mounted to the transmission. There is still enough room between the transmission to the floorboard pan up there to allow you to still take this piece out, this cross member out. So you're still fine in that. You got plenty enough room. Now this is just one idea in that, I tried using the original one for this, wouldn't work. I tried one from a Trans Am, it wouldn't work either. So I figured I'd mock one up, make something in that myself, and I'm hoping that this should be more than enough, strong enough to do it. The square tubing is by far pretty strong. And I'll get up here. And plus in that, if you look at the wall thickness is pretty good. So there shouldn't be any issues as far as that being strong enough to withstand everything. Now, next step in that is a big block. As you've seen in the other videos, it was purple. What I'm doing in that is decide that I wanted to go through, re-ring it, clean it all up, make sure it was going to be good when I put it in there. Because this is not going to be fun, putting it in there and then have something go wrong with the engine and then have to pull it back out. I don't want none of that. I want to be able to put it in here and enjoy it for hopefully years to come. So all the mounting and that on the frame has been done. Maybe needs some cleaning up, but I'm going to clean this whole area out, get it all cleaned up, and repaint it. It's going to be all painted nice and black. The big block, on the other hand, will be going with a blue color green. It's going to really show up. I had one engine before that I had painted that way, and it looked great. With the rocker covers, having good tall chrome rocker covers, which I've been kind of looking at just more polished aluminum, because chrome has a tendency of scratching easily, dulling, and just not coming out very well. So my expectations is the dull aluminum rocker covers, tall rocker covers, and kind of going with that. No altering with the pan. I'm using the regular stock Chevrolet pan. So nothing is altered in that as far as the pan goes. You just want one in that where it dumps more out toward the back than toward the front. It allows you to have more room for this cross member up here in the front. Actually, for the mount that I got cut out of here, I actually got more cut out here than what really needed to be. This being my first time doing this and putting a big block in here, I didn't know how much room I needed to ship the engine that way or that way. This, and having room from side to side, because it's going to be offset, even though that this is in the center. Big blocks and that, you got it sitting in here. All of this doesn't fit where you would think in that, because if you really take a look, you got the steering shaft on this side, your brake boosters. So you got more stuff on this side. So everything in that, the way if you went and measured it from here, and tried to keep it in the center, it just would not fit. There's a few other videos in that that are out there that will show in that the engine's going to sit further to this side. It's just the way it's going to be, because there's so much on this side, the power steering box. So when they made the power steering box over here, they made it where there was room over here and shifted the engine more that direction. I still have to get the brake booster taken care of, the steering shaft and the brake line. I will gradually get those and that done. The headers and everything, like I showed you in the last ones, my chrome ones will fit perfectly. These are the ones in that I showed you in the other ones. They still mock up great, so there's no issues in that with that. So they come down to the engine in that. Well, before the engine, the transmission is a 400 turbo, came out with a 77 Chevy pickup. It was a 1-ton. Of course, in that, you look at the shaft back there. It was 2-wheel drive. So I had talked to a couple of transmission guys and that, and they go, you can undo the bolt on the back and pull that off, which I knew. I was more concerned with, because most of your transmissions, this is where it slips back and forth, and I was concerned in that whether or not you could do that with these type of transmissions, and they say yes, you can. So I'm not worried too much about that. It will be down the road. My next step would be is the rear end is going to be the next big issue at hand. Now on to the big block 454. This is was supposed to have been out of a 77. As I have checked it up, it can range from 73 to 1980, I believe. I ran the numbers in that off. It's got, wrote on here, high performance passenger. It's also wrote high performance passenger too. It shows as it being a 454. So, which I got all the parts here. When I went and bought an entire kit for it, which was a ring kit, I was expecting all this to be completely standard. Well, to find out, it was not standard. The pistons were 20 over. The rods were standard, but the mains were 10 over. So I had sold that kit, and I bought me another kit, which is on its way. That will have all the stuff. I had to buy the rings separately because the kit didn't go with 20,000s over. Kind of a rarity of 20,000s. Flat top pistons. It was a 2-bolt. It's a 2-bolt. I will run the numbers and stuff off on the heads, just kind of double check. I will on the crank as well, kind of make sure. The cam that is in this, you see it there. It's a comp cam 11604. This is a thumper cam. This is about basically the highest cam that you can get without having to have a stall converter. They tell you in that it would be nice in that to have a 2000 stall converter, but you're okay if you don't. Other than that, it should work great. I had this engine running with this cam and everything, so there's nothing in that wrong with the engine itself. I just, like I stated earlier, I just wanted to make sure that I went through this because I didn't want to put it all in there and work so hard to get it all in there to have the engine have an issue with it, rod, rings, or something like that. So I've cleaned the block up. I've honed it a little bit. Cleaning it up a little bit more. I will clean it a couple more times and blow it out a couple more times. I always very thorough and making sure everything is clean, as well as the crank, everything that goes together. I'm very thorough at cleaning. This is kind of what I consider as my dirt table. It's everything that has come off and everything that needs to be cleaned is on this table. So like I said, I will run the numbers off on the heads, the crank, just to kind of double check. I mean, you never know. People will go through these. I mean, it's a 454. Somebody could have made a 396. I don't know. So I want to make sure that on the numbers on the crank and the heads, make sure everything kind of evens out and everything looks right. When I first got this engine and that, I had pulled the rocker cover off, and I had found one of these rockers when I first got it. It had kind of slipped over to one side, kind of deformed one of these a little bit. So I shaved it a little bit, which was fine. It made it look good. It wasn't that bad, but the rocker was pretty bad, so I had to replace the rocker. So what my plans in that is that when I put this cam in that in, it does require you in that to put new valve springs in. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and buy a set of new valve springs for this, just to kind of make sure in that it goes by the specifications for the cam, and I don't have to worry about any floating. Now, if you're looking at a lot of these videos and that, you'll see so many of these guys and that they're building these trucks up, and here they got, it's a 560 some odd cubic inches, a big block, got over 1,000 horsepower. You know, that's okay in that if you're going to use it for drags and that, and but you know, an everyday street car, you don't need that much horsepower in that to get it up and move. This car and that, this truck and that, maybe is 2,400 pounds. And, you know, that is nothing. This big block is used to being put into something in that that's damn near 6,000 to 7,000 pounds. So this truck is nothing for it. So you basically, as one guy in that said in that he goes, you basically got yourself a tire burner. because there is going to be so much power and torque in that here, it's just going to light them up if you want to, just curling your toes. So even if you decide to do this with just a bone stock engine, you will still be pretty well amazed, and I think pretty happy. Even a small block is more than enough in this. I mean, truthfully honest, now a big block is an overkill, but at this particular time, this is what I have, and I always wanted to put a V8 in the S10. I just never thought of a big block, but I thought, well, you know, it's here, let's try it. So, you know, I decided to, at the very beginning, is to make a video on that, to show step-by-step of everything in that I'm doing. If you have any questions in that, be sure to put them in the comments below. And I check my videos and everything in my inbox regularly. And, but like I said in that, this is definitely a trial and error. I've not did this before. I'm not a professional. I'm not a certified mechanic. I just have built engines and that all my life, ever since I was a kid. And so this is nothing out of the ordinary for me. It's just, this is going to be a huge project. I knew when I took it on. It's just, you know, you're looking at all these videos, you're trying to get to the info that you possibly can when you want to build one. And I've stated in other videos, a lot of times they say, here it is, they got it ripped apart, and in the next video, the engine's sitting there, and they're outside and in front doing burn-offs and stuff like that, taking it to the drags. And you don't know in that, you know, you got, you know, maybe you got to move the mounts further forward. The regular small block Chevys, you can buy the adapter plates in here, and it allows you to shift it forward and backwards so it will fit in here. I mean, this alteration that I got right here is only because I am putting a big block in here. A regular small block, you do not have to do all this modification. Just the mounts for the engine is all you really have to do. All this is having to be done is to be able to have clearance for the pan for the big block, and have area now for your exhaust to come down on that side and this side. And if you'll notice now on this side, I got part of the floorboard and that cut over there. That is because of the headers. Now, I'll get you in that. If I had a lot of money, I could have headers that would go over the frame. It means that I would take these fender wells out and the exhaust would go straight out through there. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make the truck look stock from the outside, but not underneath the hood. So, you know, kind of the element of surprise of what it is. Besides probably the sound of it. So, just bring this video to an end. Please like and subscribe. And please note that if you have any questions whatsoever, even if it sounds corny or stupid, shoot it by me, because believe me, if it's stupid, at least in that if two of us put together in that and we think it's a good idea, let's go for it in that, because, you know, two heads, two brains are better than none. Always more than one person, and that gives you a better insight of what you're doing. It's always best in that to try to have somebody to help you out and give you the info and that of what they think. You know, and hopefully in that, between two people in that, you can get things designed in that and know that when it goes together in that, you did the best that you can. You didn't just throw it together and it just didn't end up something put together that just will come apart. I know I'm rambling here, so I will let you guys go. Thank you so much, Nat, for looking at all my other videos. I'm sorry, Nat, that I've been behind. Trying to keep up on that, trying to do this at least once a month, but I got a house in that has been needing a lot of work done, so it's taken all of my energy and time to get to getting it done, and haven't been able to get in here to get back to this project. So, thank you, YouTubers, and goodbye.